Well, the impossible is possible under Trump. Peace is breaking out in the Middle East. Everyone is being very cautious about this because we've been let down before by peace negotiations that quickly fell apart. I'm going to show you world leaders. They're saying this one is different. What Trump has done, I believe it's going to get him the Nobel Peace Prize. So first I'm going to come up. This is Israel opposition leader. So this is the Yair Lapid says it is time to celebrate President Trump as a global peacemaker. So this is the guy who goes up against Netanyahu in Israel. So this is the opposition party. Welcome to Doug in Exile as we celebrate the impossible.
It's the Doug Show, Doug Show, Doug Show. It's the Doug Show, Doug Show, Doug Show.
A grateful nation thanks President Trump for the return of the hostages, for the peace he has brought to the region. I call on the Nobel Committee to award President Trump the Nobel Peace Prize. He did something unbelievable. I thank him, I thank his team, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, Marco Rubio, and Tony Blair. I call upon the President to come and speak at the hostage square with the families, with all the people of Israel. 2 years we stood in that square and waited for this moment. It has become a symbol. It is a perfect place to deliver a historic speech to the entire world.
Biden's weakness caused or allowed for the initial attacks against them. But now you have peace breaking out in a way it just hasn't happened. This is a miracle, guys. This is a weird, weird thing if it continues. By the way, look, I've got new lights in the studio. What do you guys think of that? Here's Benjamin Netanyahu on Twitter. Says, with the approval of the first phase of the plan, all our hostages will be brought home. This is a diplomatic success and a national and moral victory for the state of Israel. From the beginning, I made it clear we will not rest until all our hostages return and our goals are achieved. Remember, guys, there's people on the right, psychos on the right, Candace Owens, that are blaming the Jews. Okay, the Jews had hostages taken by the other side, and they're blaming the Jews. If you're waking up all night thinking it's the Jews are controlling everything. They want this war. They're the cause of this war. You know, it's like a cult. You're in a different religion. And by the way, they're saying the exact same thing. It's a religion that the Democrats have said for 20 years. So you're repeating all the talking points of every atheist, Marxist, Democrat for 20 years. That should make you look inside and say, what are we doing? Because if Candace Owens and the right continues to go down the anti-Israel line, we could lose the next election because of these psychos in the right. That's why I keep bringing them up. That's the only reason why I would ever bring up Candace Owens. By the way, Candace Owens, who also blames Charlie Kirk's assassination on the Jews and is now saying people inside of TPUSA probably killed Charlie Kirk. And she said that she heard it because Charlie Kirk visited her in a dream. This is nuts. This is not normal. Through steadfast resolve, powerful military action, and the great efforts of our great friend and ally, President Trump, we have reached this critical turning point. I thank Trump for his leadership, his partnership, and his unwavering commitment to the safety of Israel and freedom for all hostages. God bless America. God bless Israel. God bless our great alliance. Now, Netanyahu, he's the one that had to come, kind of kicking and screaming. This was not ideal for him. Here's another quote.
It's brought the whole world together. It's amazing. I've never seen anything. It's so good for Israel. I spoke to Bibi Netanyahu just a little while ago. He called. He said, I can't believe it. He said, everybody's liking me now, meaning him. He said, I said, more importantly, they're loving Israel again. And they really are. I said, Israel cannot fight the world, baby. They can't fight the world. And he understands that very well. So it's amazing the way it's all come together. And it's a beautiful picture. I don't know if it could ever happen again. It was just a set of circumstances. Like, for instance, taking out the potential nuclear power of Iran. So many different things happened that were so amazing. It's a lot of talent involved, I'll tell you, but there was a certain degree of luck, too. You know, you need luck also.
That's some humility. You need luck, Trump. He's amazing. He's bizarre and amazing. You need luck, he says. By the way, that bombing on the Iran nuclear site is very important in this because Hamas saw that Trump, what he was willing to do if Hamas does not return the hostages. They see that America will move. It will be leveled and decimated. That whole Gaza Strip right along the ocean. I'll show you the actual map. There's going to be a kill me thing where you can actually see where it all happens in a minute. By the time you're done with all this, you guys will have complete knowledge about the whole Israel-Gaza thing. Now, our family has had a trip scheduled to Israel for 2 years with our church that's been canceled every couple months because of this war after October 7th, 2023, under Joe Biden. The escalation of events just kept happening. It was too dangerous for us to go. When Trump said people love Israel again, this is going to open up a huge economy of tourism back into Israel. If I go there, I will bring you guys with me. I will do live streams from Israel. That's why it's important to me. I'm trying to get 16 more members to the Quad Heads. You can join. It's $6.99 a month. And I do private lives, personal live streams. It's going to be like family trips and things like that. But Israel will be one of them. Here's even ABC News. Now, they're so reluctant here. They're so upset that they have to give Trump credit. But even ABC News is giving Trump credit. Watch this.
What about the role President Trump played in bringing all of this about?
Well, Robin, there's no question that if this goes as planned, if we see those remaining hostages freed and Israel begin its withdrawal, it is a remarkable achievement, and President Trump most certainly deserves credit for his role. He has done this through diplomacy, pressure, and the sheer force of his personality and persistence. He dispatched diplomats again and again, made threats just in the last few days to Hamas, saying again if they did not sign the deal, all hell would break loose. And they
I thought it was interesting that she said his personality. You guys gotta, for people that are against his personality, he said to grab a woman by the hoo-hoo, and he made fun of people, and, you know, he called Ted Cruz's wife ugly. This is what it took to bring peace. This is the kind of personality that it took, even if it's arrogance. And he goes, I'm going to end this war. I'm going to end it on day one. You know, I'm going to go in and I'm going to bring peace. It's that confidence level that it took to get this thing done. So people can poo-poo his personality. This is what it took.
He had the bombing of Iran as an example of that, but perhaps most importantly, he pushed Benjamin Netanyahu in ways his predecessor and others have not, Robin.
And what finally got the two sides to this point? And will it be able to get phase 2 off the ground?
Well, you know, Robin, throughout this process, President Trump never wavered in his support for Israel. But when Netanyahu ignored much of what Trump was trying to accomplish.
This is entirely false, by the way. This is ABC doing their anti-Jew thing. This is not true. I've looked everywhere for it. It's not there that Netanyahu ignored Trump. It's more like behind the scenes, Trump and Netanyahu were working together.
By continuing to bomb over the last few months, Trump laid down the hammer with Netanyahu, essentially saying enough is enough. Trump had also told Netanyahu that he was opening indirect negotiations with the Iranians, which put even more pressure on the Israeli prime minister. Obviously, the coming days will prove whether the rest of the plan comes to fruition. But if those hostages are freed, which would leave Hamas without their major bargaining tool, this is a huge moment for Donald Trump.
It certainly is. All right, Martha.
A huge moment for Donald Trump. That's from ABC. If they return the hostages, this is very much like the hostages being returned under Ronald Reagan. Remember when he won the election and the day after he won, the Iran hostages came home. Tough man is in the White House. The world knows now, world respect. Here's Christian Nationalism 1. Here's from the Department of Homeland Security, guys. Imagine this under Biden. The Department of Homeland Security says, pray without ceasing. We pray without ceasing. For the president, for America, for peace in the Middle East. Here's from the White House itself. For America to be a great nation, we must always be one nation under God. This one just came out yesterday. We must be one nation under God. Now, here's that Litnick guy. He's meeting with all of he's Jewish. He's meeting with the families of the hostages that were brought into the White House, and he just gave them the news that all of the hostages are coming home.
They want to say something. Is that right? All right, hold on.
They're talking to Trump.
President Trump, you have the best crowd in the world. What do you guys have to say to President Trump?
Thank you very much, everybody.
You did it!
You did it! Thank you!
This is amazing. Mr. President, we believe in you. We know you've done so much for us over the past, since you became a president, and even before that. And we trust you fulfill the mission until every hostage, every 48 of the hostages are home. Thank you so much. Blessed be the peacemakers.
God bless you, Mr. President. God bless America.
Thank you very much. You just take care of yourselves. The hostages will come back. They're all coming back on Monday.
All hostages coming back by Monday. Look at them breaking out in tears. They've been waiting for this for 2 years. Imagine having children, family members over there. Now they're going to be messed up. Trump has said that they will have been tormented. Israel does not torment the prisoners of Hamas. So they're not going to come back with broken arms and missing body parts and stuff. The Israel hostages will. It's going to be horrific. And I don't expect there to be a lot of news coverage of actually showing them, because they're going to want peace. They're going to want to be able to repair with their families. And I'm going to tell you this is not both sides' moral equivalence. That's what you're seeing from a lot of these anti-Jew, anti-Israel people. They're going, both sides need to stop this war. It's not both sides. They're not morally equivalent at all. Israel is giving up way more than Hamas is, way more. And they should. Why? Because Israel is part of Western civilization. And that area of Gaza and Hamas are animals. They're Muslim, anti-Jew, just evil, angry people. I mean animal figuratively, right? Not literally, obviously. I don't mean at a genetic level. I just mean that they act like savages. And so Israel's giving up much more against an enemy that they have the righteousness to destroy. So Israel, in not destroying them, I think is taking the higher ground. Here's AMAC. Trump's Israel deal, another massive victory for the peace president. Here's people with Israeli flags waving them. This week, President Donald Trump again proved his critics wrong and made the impossible happen again. Israel and Hamas have agreed to a sweeping ceasefire and prisoner exchange that will see all remaining hostages returned home and begin the first step. Remember, we want them to get to the second step, ending a brutal 2-year war. It's a monumental breakthrough, one that cements Trump's legacy as the most effective peace negotiator in modern history. Let that sink into your friends that said Trump's going to start World War III. All the fake Christians like David French and Phil Vischer, who created the VeggieTales. All these fake liars were wrong. Trump is peace. Now here's Kilmeade. I only bring this up because he goes over the facts, the step-by-step facts of the deal. He's going to end on a map of Israel that I find very interesting. Here's the actual main points of the peace plan.
Let's go over it so you have an understanding of what they perhaps framed out over in Cairo, Egypt. War will end immediately. So the fighting that's still continuing, we saw smoke coming out of Gaza, will cease. I don't think that'll be much of a problem. All hostages will have to cease to be returned within 72 hours. We don't know when the clock actually starts ticking, but let's say Monday. At which
Trump just said Monday on that phone call.
Time you'll have 20 plus alive and over 50 bodies collected. Right now, that's taking place, we understand, between all the different factions. There are groups that are holding hostages that are not members of Hamas but have the same militant mindset. Israel released 250 people with life sentences. That means more than likely they have killed before. Think about how difficult that is.
Israel has to release actual terrorists that have bombed civilians.
1,700 Gazans. Some people have been captured during this fighting. Keep in mind, Yahya Sinwar was one of the people that was exchanged for one hostage last time. He ends up being the architect of the October 7th attack. Thankfully, him and his brother are dead. Hamas members could be given amnesty if they decommission their weapons and agree to give up their rockets. That was the sticking point yesterday. We believe somehow they overcame it. Hamas will not have any role in the governance of Gaza, we should hope. Israel will not occupy or annex Gaza. That's not going to be an issue. The issue was really more the West Bank area where the Palestinian Authority mostly has the authority, but I don't think they're looking to take any Gaza. And I don't think that was much of something to be hurdled. Gaza will be governed by a temporary transition government. This is going to be key. And that government's going to be chaired by a peace council by President Trump. And then there's going to be people like...
That's going to be Trump and Tony Blair. So we're taking over their government temporarily to set it on its feet, make sure they don't do something stupid that's going to they're going to actually benefit the people.
Tony Blair, who's given basically his post-prime minister career to trying to find some way forward on a two-state solution or whatever is possible in the area. The question is, if you see Westerners in that region, we know they were targets when the Iraqi transition was taking place, will they be targets again? And the possible path to Palestinian self-determination and statehood, it's all going to be performance-based. How are they acting? Are there really Palestinian technocrats that want to work out a way to rebuild Gaza, set up institutions, security, schools, and things to that nature? I don't know any.
I don't know any. That's the big sticking point. Is there anyone left in Gaza who can help a country? You know, electricians, infrastructure, he said technocrats, people with technology, people with a college degree, people who are loving and caring for a country that can help rebuild roads, rebuild cities, rebuild civilization. Kilmeade just kind of gave it all away. He goes, I don't know of any. I don't either. So that's kind of a big if, is what do you even have left? This is an area that is just rubble. It's just been absolutely destroyed. There's barely a building standing after 2 years of war against Israel. Israel's leveled that place, and Trump is going to bring in probably big, beautiful buildings. He wants to turn it into like Dubai with like big business parks and skyscrapers and a major economic hub. And they're right there on the ocean. So this is like prime real estate in the entire world that Gaza has flushed into a toilet. And Clinton, we showed the clip of Clinton yesterday. Even Clinton said, look, we gave Gaza everything they wanted, and all they did was they shot their own reformers and moderates.
And maybe some of them are in prison right now. We're not sure. If you want to have an idea and a visual of what's going on, this was supplied by the White House. This is essentially Israel, okay? This is Gaza. This is where the walls were breached and the attack took place. Right now, we see the IDF is at the blue line. They'll be backing up to the yellow line and eventually be out. One of the sticking points was Hamas was saying, I want them all out before we go out. That doesn't seem to have happened.
Yeah, let's go. They want them all of the IDF, the Israel army out before they're willing to do anything. So I just like that kind of those factoids by Kilmeade. That's a great segment. Here's the president of India, Narendra. This is Modi. We welcome the agreement on the first phase of President Trump's peace plan. This is also a reflection of the strong leadership of PM Netanyahu, Prime Minister. We hope the release of hostages and enhanced humanitarian assistance to the people of Gaza will bring respite to them and pave the way for lasting peace. They're going to help feed them. They're going to bring in water, medical supplies, all that. We want to embrace Gaza with peace, and I hope that's not the biggest mistake that the whole world is making. But the whole world, Trump said, is suddenly, Trump's good at finding the 80-20 issue. He got on the side that 80% of the world wants, which is peace in the Middle East. This is he also added President of the United States, real Donald Trump, and Netanyahu. Wait, there's more. Here's CNN throwing light on Trump.
I just need to underscore what an enormous moment this is for so many people in this region, for the people of Gaza who have endured 2 years of war, for the families of these 48 remaining hostages who have endured 2 years of absolute agony. This is a watershed moment.
Trump brought a watershed moment. That's on CNN. So now we have ABC and CNN. Now, what is the threat? Islam is the threat. I don't mean the entire Islamic religion. I mean the radicalized ones there. This is what I can barely even show this, guys. This is a persecution in the name of Jesus Christ. This is someone preaching Jesus Christ, supposedly my Dutch homeland. I have Dutch roots, I have Dutch blood, but I am not Dutch in any way, shape, or form. I'm ashamed of the Dutch. I would never claim Dutch, even though my last name is Ten Napel. I'm American, and I'm American only. And this is why. This is Dutch culture. This woman on the left there in that trench coat is preaching Jesus in the public square, and then a Muslim comes up, hits her, drags her around by her hair. Pushing her, hit her, dragging her by the hair. I can't even show the rest of this. It's too horrific. My note on this is the Dutch, not one Dutch man came to her aid. Now, if this happened in America, okay, that's in Amsterdam. If this happened in America, that Muslim Turkish guy would get his butt kicked, maybe even by an American atheist. So I want the Dutch, you can keep your feminized, soft Christian, fake country. Keep your values out of my country. Keep your culture, the Dutch culture. If that's what Dutch culture is, your men stand by while your women are dragged around by their hair by a Muslim. Get your culture out of my culture. That's what I say to all this multiculturalism. I don't like seeing even the French flag flown here. I don't like seeing other flags flown here. Keep your culture out of my country. Same thing to the Muslims. A Muslim guy dragging a woman around by his, keep your culture out. That goes for India. When I see anyone who's of Indian descent here and they want to bring India here, look, I'll eat Indian food all day. But the ethics, the values of America are American. You come in here and you assimilate here. And that's why I will always be an American. I will never call myself Dutch. I am not Dutch. I'm American. By the way, so is every person from India and every Muslim that comes to America and says, I'm for the Constitution. I will die for this country. I will die for my neighbor to my right and my left. Welcome, welcome. Jews, atheists, Black, African, Mexicans, come over here. Do not wave your Mexican flag here. You're not Mexican anymore. When you come here, you're American, just like me. You can be black as night if you follow American, if you believe in our Constitution. Welcome. Otherwise, get out. I'm not here to import other countries into mine. Here's my favorite one. Now, this one is CNN. Having to give praise to Donald Trump. There's Cornel West in the corner. That guy, there's a raging anti-Jewish guy there. This is Dan Goldman, Democrat, Homeland Security Committee member who hates Trump.
This was not doable when President Biden was in office.
I think the biggest problem that the President Biden had is there was no pressure from Qatar, from Turkey, from Egypt. They were actually facilitating in many ways what was going on.
Why didn't this happen under Biden? Abby Phillip asks. Why do you think? Why did peace not break out under Biden? He was weak. He was probably the cause of this through his absence of leadership.
And that is really ultimately how it all came together.
So, I mean, but I think by saying that, it's sort of an acknowledgement Trump has changed that dynamic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I think
absolutely.
that.
I mean, he's clearly.
I don't know how he,
changed
and I think there's a lot that remains to learn about what prompted that change. But I do agree, yes, somehow, some way that changed.
Magic. Somehow, some way, that's a Democrat, the most Trump-hating Democrat. Dan Goldman, his last name is Jewish. Rep Dan Goldman, who hates Trump more than anything, said something about Trump. It's like magic. Change the dynamic, and Biden couldn't do it. Guys, the facts are forcing people to compliment Trump and give him credit as a peacemaker. We're going to end here on Erica Kirk, because I think this is a real good insight on what's going on. She's quoting Lamentations. She's still lamenting her husband, of course, but she's quoting Lamentations. The steadfast love of our Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They're new every morning. Great is your faithfulness, God. We are not faithful. We're the whore in the book of Hosea, where the prophet had to keep buying a whore who was unfaithful to him. That's what God said Israel was. He goes, you people, and it applies to Christians too. You're not faithful. I'm faithful. You can't save yourself. I will save you. Quote, the Lord is my portion, says my soul. Therefore, I will hope in him. The Lord is good to those who wait for him. And we've been waiting for peace a long time. To the soul who seeks him, it is good that one should wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord. Lamentations 3:22-26. And we're going to end on that great scripture of glory, a promise to all people who seek salvation and peace in the Lord. I'm Doug in Exile. Subscribe.